chances that I missed. Some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist. I wondered what would change. I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage.
Well, good morning. I'm going to go ahead and interrupt our race top
I just forget the lessons that I couldn't
This is One Street Over. I am so glad you are here. Welcome to all that we have going on. What's going on? One street over from where you live in. I know you're living right, and Barry Richards is in the house with
Good morning.
with Exit Prime Realty.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
And we were just talking about the Cumberland boys that I interrupted.
Yeah, you interrupted the Cumberland boys to start. Well, they would not have played if the show had
That's
not been.
right. Had we not had a little glitch
The
there.
Cumberland boys were the originally the Opryland Gospel Quartet. That's how they got started.
Really?
And two of those boys are from my hometown of Scottsville, Kentucky.
Okay, that's cool.
And they went on to be the Cumberland boys, and they put out some
cool.
great music. This was late '90s that they put those songs out.
Okay,
So.
that's super cool. Well, see, you know all this stuff. You've just got a plethora of information in your head, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know if it's all. I have a plethora of information and a little bit of a smoking tobacco barn ashes in my head right now. It makes my voice a little hoarse.
Well,
it's that time of year.
are you seeing barns out where you are?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, my wife went for a walk yesterday, and I didn't offer to go because I didn't think inhaling all that smoke was going to be easy on me. So maybe in a day or two, I'll be able to get it back out.
And I love the smoking barns.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, I guess it was probably last year because my husband, he's helping coach with the Coopertown Middle School, the Eagles, I think they are. But I don't get to go to many games because I have all the things at Greenbrier, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I actually went to one, and it was up where they had a big, and it was kind of felt like a little cool in the air, and there was smoking barns.
Oh,
It was just neat. It was just so good. It was Robertson County.
That's right.
You know, it was Robertson County. But I reached out to Barry yesterday because I've been saying all week, I've been talking about this safety event, the safety day coming up in Cross Plains. And when I do your ad, I always talk about how that you and Rebecca are always at any community event because you just are.
Yeah.
You always go. And I said, I'll bet you they'll be there. So I just decided to call you. And yeah.
Well, yeah. And to
they're
be
going to
clear,
be there.
I'm not an official spokesperson for Safety Day, but.
Yeah, but still, you're going to have a booth there, I'm assuming.
We'll be there.
Right?
And we've been there the last 2 years. They just started this. This will be the third one.
Okay.
And they've done a really good job with it, though. It's put together by our Cross Plains Fire Department.
Right.
Tommy Jackson, our county commissioner, is the fire chief there.
Okay.
And the Cross Plains Police Department, Stan Hilgedick's the chief there. Those departments put this together, and they call in all of their friends in safety and law enforcement. And it's just a great event for kids, kind of a touch a truck event where they come out. The fire trucks are there. The coolest thing, I don't think anybody will debate, is the helicopters.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think each of the last 2 years we've had 4 helicopters there.
Ooh, and they're emergency vac type helicopters?
Yeah, I believe last year, and I might be wrong on this, I think they had the new one from Skyline Medical Center. They had Vanderbilt's Life Flight. They had a Medevac helicopter and News Channel 5's helicopter.
Oh, that's cool.
And I think last year, I don't think all 4 were on the ground at the same time, but the year before they were. Because, they're all working. So you don't know.
Yeah.
You'll hear the fire chief with his, on his belt, the walkie-talkie will go off, and the helicopters got to go. They got to go when they got to go. But when they're on the ground, the pilots and the crew are there to answer questions, and the kids can climb up in them and take their pictures.
That's cool.
And see what it's like inside a helicopter. Same thing goes with the ambulance and the fire trucks. TWRA is there. Robertson County EMS is there. There's search and rescue dogs.
That's fun.
You can hear them a mile away.
Yeah, I love that.
But a lot of cool stuff. The folks with the Tennessee Highway Patrol, they bring a simulator. And one of the kind of the highest profile things is the fire extinguisher safety booth. Frontline fire suppression will be there this year, and they'll give the kids a chance to put out a fire. They'll light a fire and show the kids how to work a fire extinguisher, which is something
that's cool.
We don't get to practice at home. We've got a fire extinguisher, but if you've got little kids, how are they going to know how to operate it? But it is a pretty cool thing.
That's so cool. We have to do a safety test in any of the career classes. You have to do kids have to get 100 on it. They take it until they get 100. You've got to go through this safety stuff and fire extinguishers and my little repertoire.
Sure.
Talking about the different classes of fire extinguisher and how you follow PASS. PASS. Pull the
Yes.
pin, aim at the base of the fire, and sweep side to side. So
I-
we just talked about that. We
I
just talked
remember
about
hearing
that.
that,
Yeah.
from the guy
That's
with
hysterical.
the fire extinguisher program there
That's
last
funny.
year.
Yeah.
He'll be back this year with Frontline.
That's great.
Division of Forestry is there, and I'm just looking at the little flyer. You'll
Yeah.
find that on the City of Cross Plains Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
Visit Cross Plains has it on their Facebook page as well. But they've got other law enforcement that come out. I mentioned, I didn't mention Robertson County Sheriff. The Highway Patrol's
Mm-hmm.
there. DOT is there. I believe the folks you mentioned, Coopertown Police will
Mm-hmm.
be there. And I believe, yes, White House Police as well. Also, a bike safety program. So they'll
that's
have
cool.
sort of a bike rodeo. Kids can come out, ride a bike, learn about bike safety, learn about helmets,
That's so
how
cool.
important that is. And then they'll have some bike giveaways.
Okay.
So it's a great opportunity for kids to get out, because there's probably a lot of kids who maybe they had a bike and they outgrew it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you kind of get that back in their repertoire of things that they want to do when they get home
Yeah.
from school, going out and riding a bike for a few minutes is going to make a big difference versus coming home and plopping down on the couch and looking
On
at
the
your phone and
devices.
getting on the
Exactly.
devices. Yeah.
Get them doing something productive. But
And then-
that's really cool.
Absolutely. So everybody come out to Cross Plains this Saturday from 10 until 2.
Okay.
This is at Kilgore Park in the big field on the right as you come in. You won't be able to miss it. And it's all free. And all ages are invited, but the kids will especially love it. And we'd love to have you there. And thanks again to Cross Plains Fire Department and Cross Plains Police Department for putting on such a great event. This
It
will be
sounds like a
year.
fun one, and I think the weather's going to be good. It's going to be a little bit warm, but it's nice. I mean, it's going to be
absolutely.
a little warmer than it's been the last couple of
Well, you
days.
can come hang out under the Exit Prime tent.
There
with
you
us for
go.
a few minutes, and we'll have some
Absolutely.
giveaways. We'll be there as
For
well.
sure, for sure. And how are things going with Exit Prime Realty, the new branch in the Exit Tree?
Things are going very
That's
well.
my little banner for y'all.
Our
Your new branch.
our sisters in Kentucky. We're also a part of Exit Realty Garden Gate team in Kentucky, and we just opened a Bowling Green office.
Okay.
Had the ribbon cutting a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
So that makes it a lot more comfortable. I told the mayor of Bowling Green, I really appreciate their public library, but I don't have to go there now to print things out. I can go to my office in Bowling Green
That's
when
great.
I'm up there doing business. The biggest thing in real estate that maybe you've seen it in the paper is effective last Saturday, we have to get somebody to sign something anytime we show a house. Now, used to, if you called me up and you're a complete stranger and said, hey, Barry, I saw this house listed. I'd really like to see it. I would, do a little due diligence, but I'm happy to meet you there and show you the house and see if I can maybe be of service to you. But the new regulations that are part of a settlement from the National Association of Realtors with a class action lawsuit about transparency and commissions means that before I show you a house or anybody a house, I need to have a signed document saying that you understand that I want to represent you and that you understand I'm going to need to be paid and how much exactly.
It's so silly.
That is the look
It's
on the
like,
face.
well, duh.
It is.
Of course.
Well-
I mean, why would you be doing
Well,
something?
and that's why the lawsuit came about, is because not everybody understands that, and not
Okay.
everybody understands
Okay.
that commissions are negotiable. So,
Okay.
so now, and I like to spread the word on that so that somebody who meets an agent for the first time doesn't think they're feeding them a line, but they do need you to sign something. Now, there are a couple of different ways that can go. And over the weekend, I experienced both. I met a woman for the very first time at a property, and I said, I'm going to have you, it was voluntary. I didn't
Right.
twist her arm. I'm going to have you sign this document that just says, I'm showing you this property, this one property,
Right.
and that if you buy this property, you agree that I'm going to get a commission, and I specified the maximum commission I could collect. And of course, my intention is, if she bought the property and she decided she didn't want it anyway, I'm going to go talk to the listing agent and see if the seller can share some of the proceeds with us, which has
Right.
been the way it's primarily been over the years, not 100%. The other client that I worked with over the weekend is somebody I've worked with for a long time. And we were actually seeing a property that we had seen a couple of times before.
Right.
So in this case, I had her sign a document. She agreed to sign a document that said I'm going to be her exclusive agent for all properties for the next 6 months because she's in the process of finding a home. And that's a kind of document a lot of us, including myself, have used a lot in the past. In other words, one thing people may not understand about real estate agents is we don't collect a salary.
No.
We don't get gas money.
No.
So it's all speculative work until we find you a house. So we're incentivized to help you find a house or to help you sell your house because we're not getting paid until we perform.
Right.
For a lot of clients, if they're signing on and they've got, especially if they have really specific needs and we know it's going to take a long time, we definitely want that document that says, look, you're agreeing to work with me. We want you to be happy. We don't want somebody to feel like their arm is being twisted.
Right.
But at the same time, we need to know that we're not wasting our time and you're going to, get distracted and go off in another direction. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, that's the big change. So anybody, if you are going to meet a realtor to see a house, you're going to be expected to sign some kind of document acknowledging your understanding. But make sure they explain that to you, and that if you have any questions, don't feel rushed. Unfortunately, it's a 6-page document, no matter which way you go.
Oh, wow.
So it's not simple, but it is pretty straightforward.
I'm so glad you came in this week because that's so timely. Because, okay, so you're saying there's 2 different ones. There would be one document you would sign if you're just going to show a house and it's somebody you've never met. But then you've got the exclusivity document as well. So those are 2 separate documents.
They're 2 separate. You
would just sign one, though.
Exactly. You just need to sign one. Either, and the one where it's just a one-time, as I mentioned, that has to be specified in there. And in the example I gave, I put just that address.
Oh, I got you.
So you could say, well, I'm going to show you these addresses or houses this week. And if you buy one of them, then I'm going to represent you.
Would you be able, so if let's say you've got a client, so the one you met this weekend.
Yeah.
You had 3 houses you wanted to show. Could they sign one document for all 3 houses?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. The document is between the agent and the consumer.
So you're going to get the document ready and bring it and have it ready. And if it's several addresses, it'll be like, I'm showing you these, that's it. But if you buy these, then I'm your guy.
Yeah. And what we're seeing is that things are going to kind of work as normal. And see, therein lies the problem. When I say normal, people need to know that it's not set in stone.
Right.
Maybe you've heard, real estate commission is 6%, and one agent gets 3 and one agent gets 3. And there are a lot of deals that are done that way, but that is not the law. It's not universal. It's not every deal. So consumers, and that's why we have these new documents, need to understand that real estate commissions are negotiable, that the seller is not required to give the buyer's agent any money. And so it may be in some cases that a buyer may need to pay their agent when the transaction closes if there's not money coming from another source. Now, the most important thing that people need to understand is when it comes time for you to sign a contract to buy a house, there's not going to be a surprise. It's not going to be a situation where, hey, we closed, we got our keys, and then the agent whips out a bill and says, oh, and by the way, you owe me this.
Right.
It's going to be all up front.
Right.
But it is your responsibility as a consumer to ask questions. Make sure you understand what you're selling, because we've heard, from time to time, stories of people signing things that they thought was one thing, but they didn't read it. And I'm not saying that somebody was deceiving them, but they were misunderstanding what they were signing. And we don't want that ever to be the situation. Also, another thing about any kind of document you sign, there is an expectation that you're going to get a copy of whatever you sign. So if I have you sign something, even if it's out at a house, I've brought 2 copies. So here's one you can take and read, and here's the one that you put your signature on that I'm going to take with me. So.
Right. Very good. This is Barry Richards. If you don't know who this gentleman is, he's him and Rebecca are our longest sponsor that we've had here on One Street Over, and we appreciate y'all so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much to help us keep this going. But real estate is just kind of it's changing all the time. There's so much to it, and I talk a lot about in your ad about how that you guys came out of diverse backgrounds, and I think that's what makes you guys so unique, is because you've lived life in other areas, so that gives you this wealth of knowledge of all this different stuff, even to beekeeping, and you're Kentuckians. You like me, you grew up in Kentucky, but
Yeah.
you've been here forever. You've been here, almost 30 years now, right?
Yeah,
Cross Plains?
I was thinking about it. It'll be 30 years next year.
Okay.
We moved on Labor
No,
Day
it's getting
weekend of
close.
1995.
Yeah,
So.
it's getting close.
And we just moved up from Nashville. It's not like we came
No,
from
no,
the
no.
other end of the world.
But you lived in Nashville, so you've got experience in Nashville. Like I said, you grew up in Kentucky. You've been in Cross Plains now for nearly 30 years, so you've just got this wealth of background. And you came out of the marketing background because he's got his own camera in here and doing all that. And so, because he's an expert at marketing, because you were a media marketing vice president for 17 years up in Nashville. I'm always curious, though, because then I know Rebecca was radiology and all that. How long ago did she switch over to real estate?
She did when she got out of school. She worked as a radiologic technologist for 10 years.
Okay.
Then she stayed home and raised the kids for 10 years.
Okay.
She juggled both for a while, but once she had two, it became a real challenge.
Right.
And then she got into real estate in 2007.
Okay.
So she's been working in real estate longer than she worked in any other career.
That's awesome. But I think that's interesting because I wasn't really sure. I didn't realize that she was a stayed home, she stayed home with the kids. And then it was like, I need to find something to do. And she started looking into real estate. Was it something that you ever thought you would do until she got interested in it?
No,
Isn't
not
that
at
fascinating?
all. Yeah. And we're always looking for new agents, and I really like to talk.
That's kind of why I wanted to unpack that.
Yeah, I love to talk to agents who are experienced and they know real estate's their career. And let's bring your book of business over to our company and let us provide support that maybe you're not getting. But I also love to talk to new people. And, Rebecca's background is in healthcare, so it was a lot of customer service. It's a lot of detail, from medical records and things like that. And that really feeds well into real estate. My background in marketing really serves well in real estate. We have other agents who come from really diverse backgrounds. We have ones who worked in the music industry, and they really know how to interact with people and work with a lot of different temperaments, as you might imagine. We have others who worked in healthcare. We have one very successful agent who came from being a school teacher, and she decided that really wasn't the path she wanted to continue on, so she's got into real estate and really taken off. We have agents who worked in, we have one, I believe she was either a dental hygienist or a dental assistant, and so she's, making that transition into real estate. We've had several agents who worked in state government and were looking at retirement a few years down the road and realized, hey, I can start in real estate, get my feet wet, get some experience, so that when I start collecting that retirement check from the state, I've got something to move right into, and I'll be experienced with it. And there's a lot to be said for getting experience in real estate. Even if you're not selling, 50 homes a year, if you're in the office when you have time, if you're interacting with other agents, if you're learning, because every deal is different. And in every deal, you're going to learn something new. And if you're the fly on the wall as a new agent around those experienced agents, as they encounter challenges and overcome those challenges and better serve the consumer, you're going to learn a lot. And that's one of the things that we like to stress. And we've got agents who can be in the office every day because they have time. And we have agents that are, part of our Zoom calls and on the phone with me on a regular basis. And we're making sure that their questions are answered and they're serving their customers as best as possible. Even if they can't be a full-time agent yet, because that's a lot of their goal is to be a full-time agent, and that's what we want to encourage.
Okay, and that's cool. And again, I talk a lot about how that they're always at community events. If you want to just have a leisurely sit down with them, you can go out to the safety event this weekend and sit down because you'll have a booth up there. If there's an event in Cross Plains, they got a booth. I mean, pretty much. I mean, and you guys come to stuff here in Springfield and all over, but Cross Plains for sure. If there's a Cross Plains event, you're going to be there.
We'll be there for Safety Day, and I'll mention again that's Saturday 10 to 2 at Kilgore Park in Cross Plains, and bring the kids out especially, but all ages will enjoy it. VFW Post 2120 will be there selling hot dogs, taking donations. We appreciate that. There'll be some other food trucks there as well, but all kinds of fire trucks and ambulances, and I think TWRA will have a boat there.
Fun.
All kinds of really cool stuff for the kids to see. Search and rescue dogs, the helicopters will be excited, and It's not like they're there when you roll up. They appear, and you never know when there's going to be another helicopter landing. So
It's so funny when I called him. Like I said, I talk on the ad. I say I call you all the time with questions about technology because I'm not a technology person. I was talent. So you got something going off on your camera there. I don't know what
that's
it
okay.
is.
Don't worry about it.
But so I'm having to learn technology, and you've been such a great help to me. And I've got some questions for you about some cables and stuff. But we'll talk about that later. But I was trying to figure out how to wipe the SD card on the drone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I ended up I haven't fully done it yet, but I figured out where I need to go. But I took the drone out because we had a mock crash at Greenbrier.
Oh, neat.
So I've got that. I'm like flying around a little bit and getting some pictures, and all of a sudden they come over and they go, "The helicopter's coming in. You got to land the drone."
Absolutely.
And I was like, "Oh!" So we didn't get much drone footage because the helicopter was coming in. And so while I took it up and got just a real quick shot when I knew it wasn't going anywhere, but like you said, if they'd gotten a call, I didn't need to be flying a drone around.
Yeah, absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
And so
and we'll have our drones there
fun.
at the event,
From exit.
and the police chief and the fire chief from Cross Plains, they ask, "Hey, can you fly your drone up, get some cool pictures?" Which we've done the last couple of years for them. But it is interesting. I'm often I'm flying a drone and I'll get a notice on my drone that says there's a manned aircraft nearby.
Yeah.
But that might be a plane that's several miles away. But when those helicopters have to get ready to start up and they turn on their transponders, my drone gets notified that
Land.
something's getting ready to start,
Yeah.
so I can swing around. I never go over the people or over the
Yeah.
helicopters, but go around and get cool shots of the crowd. So
That's really cool. And we have to say thank you, too, because Lee Marie said, Barry got great pictures of the Pray for Tennessee event around the courthouse.
Absolutely.
So that doesn't surprise me that was you.
that was me.
So, because I saw those pics and they were awesome. But, that's one thing. A lot of people are out there flying drones right now irresponsibly.
Yeah.
Oh, my
they
Lord. We
absolutely
were
are.
at the ballpark the other day, and a guy had a DJI drone. And it's like, this thing's so easy to fly. In the crowd, zoop, he's flying it over the kids. And I mean, and not that high above the kids. And my son and I we were both going, you need to land that thing, buddy. And I mean, it's like, it's fine. It's like, you don't fly that close to
It's
children, you
fine
crazy
until it's
person.
not. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So many things can go wrong that you don't
better
expect.
believe it.
So,
Anyway, but we do appreciate you so
Yeah.
much. And the offices, like I explained to everybody, you were with the Garden Gate team and you're still with Exit. You're just a new branch in the Exit tree. You've got your brokerage office here in Springfield. We've got Rebecca's office up in White House, which is an agency office. Combine those two to bring you a new branch in the Exit tree.
there you go.
So how is the best way to get in contact with you guys?
Probably, I always send people to Becky's website, sellwithbecky.com. That's the easiest thing to remember. Everybody can remember it. But sellwithbecky.com will take you to Becky, allow you to search for homes around the area, and has her phone number and her smiling face.
Say right here's her phone number right now. It jumped away from me. Hang on just a second. I had it, but it is 615-504-7425.
That's right.
615-504-7425.
But just connect with us. We're glad to work with anybody, and we're glad to talk. We love to talk. So that's another thing. If you like to talk, you should get in real estate because you'll do a lot.
Yeah.
You'll lose your voice talking to folks.
That's funny, especially when the barns are smoking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when the barns are smoking. But anytime you want to come by the school too, and I'm going to have you come in pretty soon because I loved when you did the little indoor drone with the kids.
Oh, yeah.
The kids loved that.
Yeah.
They thought that was the coolest thing. So I'll give you a call because I've got some cable. I've been buying cheap microphone cables.
Oh, yeah.
I need recommendations.
That's a common mistake. Yeah.
I need recommendations on what kind I need. What makes them? How can I tell good from bad? Because I mean that's something I've had to replace mic cables because kids aren't careful with them.
Oh no.
And so I need some good mic cables because we're at that place where we can purchase some things here at the first of the year, and that's up at the top of my list. I need a gimbal for one of my big cameras. I need some help, Barry.
Oh God.
I need some help on some recommendations, brother, to get my equipment together. But anything we're missing as far as real estate that you got that new. If you missed it. There was a big new regulation that started Saturday about you have to sign a paper with an agent before you have to sign a document saying that this, the agent's showing you this property. Or if you want to sign an exclusivity document, you have to fully disclose.
These
that
are
now.
regulations that apply to all members of the National Association of Realtors.
So
So
if you're looking at houses, you're going to have to
yeah.
sign new
And so
paperwork, guys. So get ready for it.
we face a fine if we're caught not
Wow.
having you sign that document.
Okay.
So I'm going to be having that document signed.
You better believe it.
So
Absolutely. But y'all reach out to them today, Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. Great sponsor of this program, great friends of mine too. Can't say enough about them. They're cross-Plainians, so they specialize in Robertson County properties, but also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. And they'll be at the safety day.
come see us at Safety
Go
Day.
see 'em.
Saturday, 10 to 2 in Cross Plains.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, my friend, I'll let you head out. And again, I'm just going to, as he's heading out, I'm just going to continue to remind you to reach out to them and give them a shout if you're looking for a realtor or if you're maybe wanting to get into real estate. They would love to have you come and join them and be a part of what they're doing because they both came out of different careers and started working in real estate, and they can get you acclimated and mentor you into the program. Rebecca's number one more time is 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. And as we let Barry make the exit out, Brian Pulley's coming in. What is going on, brother? Come on in and just sit down there. And Brian is here with United Way, and it feels like forever since I've seen you, my
It's
friend.
been a minute. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Just finally came see me. I thought you were all mad at me or something.
I'm not
you know?
never mad. Never mad.
So what's happening in your world today?
We're good. We're good. We're in the beginning part of campaign season, and so that's
you're
what
busy.
we're very busy, and that's what we're working on. And obviously getting Catherine kind of acclimated. She's making the rounds right now, meeting all of our partners throughout Robertson, Cheatham, and then she has some Davidson County stuff she's working on as well. So it's keeping her very busy. There's a lot of partners she needs to meet with, and we're having a divide and conquer on some stuff. That's this morning at the Chamber has their event. So she's trying to be at that to meet some people too. So she's just trying to get her face out there, which is what you need to do and meet folks and let them know we're here. But no, everything is good. I'm enjoying these beautiful, cool fall mornings that they're not fall yet, but fallish like.
Feels good out there.
I know the heat's coming back,
I know.
but hey, enjoy the little taste.
Yeah,
We
got
know
a
that it's
little-
coming.
A little kiss of fall,
Yeah,
we like
so-
to call it.
yeah, but no,
kiss of fall.
Everything is good. Running kids, you know how it is. School's starting back up. So how are you? You've had
good.
Yeah, we haven't talked in a while. You've
Well,
had a lot going on.
I got both knees
I know
replaced
that,
over
yeah.
the summer. I
You
just had
okay?
this one done 3 weeks ago.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, but I'm
Yeah.
just really tired.
I know you're tough, but
Yeah,
that's
but
a lot.
going back, I went back to work after this last knee replacement 1 week after it. So, I mean, I had it on Monday, and the next Monday I was at school.
Yeah,
That was hard.
that's
I'm just
hard.
not going to pretend it wasn't. That whole
Yeah.
week was hard.
yeah.
And it's getting easier every day. But
Yeah.
but I am worn out. I'm
Yeah.
tired. I'm ready for a day off. You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll probably take a little bit of respite time. That's the thing. We've got this big Springfield Greenbrier game on Friday night. It's the Pitt Carroll Memorial Game. I want to be there so bad, but I'm just not sure I could do it.
Yeah.
I'm not because you could park right up next to the stadium.
Where-
and
what-
you're still going to be walking all over.
Which who's hosting?
Greenbrier.
Greenbrier's host. Yeah,
We're going to take it. I just know we're going to get it.
come on now.
We're going to get
Come
it
on.
this
Hey,
year.
hey,
I want to be there.
If they scored a touchdown in like 4 years against
I'm gonna
Springfield,
throw something.
I'm
Yes,
a
we
Springfield-
almost
I'm a
won last
Springfield
year.
alum. Okay,
We almost won last year.
Yeah. I just went. We had my daughter's cheering at she's in IA this year, as a sixth grader, and they had their jamboree at at Greenbrier for the middle school
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So I was
yeah,
over
yeah,
there, so I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And I can imagine for high school because we had to park in like the high school lot over there and then walk over. So if you're not getting around great, it's not easy to get
just too much
around.
Walking.
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
So I don't think I'll be able to make
Well,
it.
if it
but
makes
it's
you
just-
feel better,
yeah.
the game probably be over by halftime. You
Stop
won't miss
it.
much.
You're wrong, man. We're gonna win it. We're
I'm
gonna
sorry.
win it.
Hey, if we can't have a little pride with your school, I don't know. So now I'll say this: basketball, football, we had our run with Greenbrier. We pretty much beat them my entire life. Baseball now, and I played baseball in high school. They absolutely owned us. So
There you go.
full props on the baseball up in Greenbrier. It is no joke. I used to remember riding over there like during Christmas break to go to Rivergate. You know, you go through there to go to Goodsville, and they'd be out there practicing baseball in December. And I knew we were.
Oh,
I
man.
knew we were.
You knew you were in
cooked. Yeah,
trouble.
I knew we.
You knew
I
you
was
were in
not practicing
trouble.
baseball in December. So.
Talking about the Greenbrier kids playing baseball, those kids up there that won this, it was which World Series? It was a group of the Greenbrier kids, and that was when I was in the middle of all my stuff, so I didn't get to really talk about it. But what an accomplishment we had! It was the let's see here. Since you mentioned that, it was the Diamond Youth World Series. And so the Diamond Youth World Series, the Greenbrier 8U All-Stars from the Diamond Youth World Series. And, I haven't had a chance to really talk. I'd love to have those kids in here. Don't you know they're excited?
Sure.
That's
it's great
so
experience.
cool. I just think
Great
that's
experience.
the neatest thing. And they actually were in a loser's game and then won that and ended up taking it.
And that's how they
So
did. It's harder to do, yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
you
I
got to
think
win more
that's-
games.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool that
Yeah.
they didn't, they were in the other side of it and still kind of.
That's much more difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
hats off to you
Yeah,
guys.
good job, guys.
Love to get some of those
Yeah.
kiddos in here.
Yeah.
And bring their big old monster trophy.
And for my Greenbrier people, I'm just kidding around. But
Oh, of
I
course
did go
we
to
know.
Springfield. I mean, we kind of have to be this way. It's an old rivalry, so.
My husband's teaching at
Yeah.
Springfield, and
Yeah.
I'm at Greenbrier. Do you think
Yeah.
he's not already throwing it down?
Yeah, I mean, it's
he's
just
he's
it's all
being-
in fun though.
He's being obnoxious.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing we joke about how that we would really love to teach at the same school, but this little rivalry's kind of fun too in the household. He's like,
Yeah.
oh man, I don't even know why you're showing up Friday night. We're gonna beat you. I'm like, I don't think so, bud. I think we got it. I think we're gonna get it this year.
Well, I love your optimism, but history would say otherwise.
Stop. No.
sorry, I can't help
just
it.
wait. Just wait.
I can't help it. I
Just
can't
wait.
help
I've
it.
just got a feeling we're gonna take it.
Okay.
We're
All
gonna
right.
take it.
We'll see. I'm
We're
glad
gonna
you
bring
put that on my.
trophy.
I'm glad you put that on my radar. So I'll be checking in on that now.
Well,
I will be at Coopertown tonight. We have a middle school football game. My
my
daughter's cheering
husband
at.
is
So
helping
yeah,
coach with that.
he's helping coach at Coopertown.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
He's been
Yeah.
doing, this is his second year coach. Yeah,
Awesome,
'cause This is
awesome.
his second year teaching. When
Yeah.
they hired him to do the criminal justice class at Springfield, that he's got a football background, so they're like, well, you can help coach with the middle school, and he's like, I love that idea, and so he's down there working.
Good
with
for
the middle
him,
school
man.
Kids. Yeah,
Shout
he's
out to
loving
all
it.
the people that helping coach
He
because
loves those kids.
they need it,
Yeah.
man. Like we had somebody step up to coach my daughter's cheerleading. That she has a full-time job and she's just stepping up to help because her daughter's on the team, and then her husband's helping coach the football team, and your husband. So I mean, that's what it takes, y'all. Is
Very
like,
cool.
yeah, I would love to be able to coach in that capacity. I think you got to be a teacher to do that. So maybe
I'm
maybe
not
down
really
down the road for me. I've done a lot of coaching,
I'm
so
not really 100% sure.
I
But
think you have to be a assistant or something. Maybe you got to be
yeah.
involved.
He's
so.
and he's not the head coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I would love to
He's
just
just-
help,
yeah.
like down the road when I'm maybe a little older and coach some basketball or something, help the kids.
You'd be
'cause
good at that.
I've done it a
So-
long time, so just not at the school level. So just more like city league stuff. So
So what grade your son in?
he's first.
First grade. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, big stuff. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, we comes in every week. I'm like, Brian and I just talk. We just like.
Well, we got to
visit.
catch it. It's been a minute.
It's
It
been
has
a minute. We haven't seen
summer-
each other hardly at all this summer.
has been something.
So it has
You've
been
been Mexico. You've had 2 knees replaced.
yeah.
You've been doing it, and then our work is expanded, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But it's a beautiful thing, but it also keeps me like running
Just hopping.
constantly, which is it's great. Our mission is being spread throughout Middle Tennessee, and it's branching out, and we're just excited to it. But it's a lot of work right now to get everything going.
So as far as, you're in a campaign, that means you are raising funds.
Right.
And the money that comes into United Way stays in this county.
Absolutely,
guys.
every dime.
It goes to the nonprofits, like your nonprofit partners. Would you want to rattle off some of them that you're
Sure, yeah, and I'll kind of, and I know it's probably been a minute since I've done this. I'll explain how it works. And so we go out and work with corporate partners here in this area, and then also there's some crossover. So if you have a company, for instance, that's located in Nashville or located in Clarksville but has branches here, for instance, or they have employees that live here but work there.
Right.
So when they're running their campaigns, they can designate for Robertson County specifically too. Like for instance, I worked in Nashville and Brentwood for most of my life. Running United Way campaign, I would have designated for the money to go right here. So that money would go to the partner agencies here. So I go out and work with our corporate partners. We've been doing this over 100 years here in the Middle Tennessee area, and the backbone of what we do. Now, there's other ways we generate revenue through grants and through one-time donations and corporate gifts and all that, but the corporate campaigns are the primary way we raise funds. And so what we do is we get buy-in from senior leadership at a company, and then we're able to come in, we do something called a kickoff, and we talk to all the employees about what United Way does in their community, the community partners that you mentioned that we work with, that we fund, in that community and what their dollars do, what the points of emphasis are. And at that point, it's completely up to the employee. They can make a contribution or not. It's fine.
Yeah.
We just are excited a lot of times for the education piece of it, to go in and talk about what we do, so they're aware, so their family members are aware. Because a lot of people go, I did not realize that was here, or I didn't realize that you guys were a part of that, or I didn't realize Raise Your Hand existed, or I didn't realize I could get my taxes done for free, or I didn't realize all these things. And so that's what we love to go in and talk. But if they do decide to contribute to the campaign, they just make their little donation. It's usually taken out per check, so it could be $5 a week. We have built a lot of stuff in this area off $5 a week off a paycheck for people. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Like
Yeah.
it takes everybody to do that. They can also, if they say, well, I already give to this nonprofit, and they're near and dear to my heart. You know, I lost a family member to cancer, and so I always give to the Cancer Society. They can designate to cancer on that, and it will be passed through directly contributed to cancer, and they still get to be a part of their company's campaign. So, because a lot of times the company will have a goal. They want to raise a certain amount of dollars, or they want to have a certain participation level. I know that's even bigger. It's like,
That's a big thing. 100%
we want to
participation.
have 100%.
Yeah.
And so even if you give to another nonprofit, that it counts towards that. And so we want it to be as inclusive as possible. If you go talk to a human resource director right now, they'll tell you their biggest obstacle that they're having is finding and keeping good employees. And statistics proved that if you engage with a nonprofit, you engage with your community, your retention level goes up by like 30% as far as keeping your employees, because they want to work for companies that care, that are involved in their community, that also give them the opportunity to volunteer in their community. And I know people say, well, we can't pull them away from their job, but like, I promise you, does it take more time to go out and hire somebody? And I've been through that process. It takes forever to hire a new person. Or if you go out and let somebody volunteer for 3 hours at an event during the day, and then they come back to work, like which takes longer, which takes more work away. So the ones that get it, typically I go inside of a lot of companies, and I can tell you within 10 minutes what their culture's like. It comes out pretty fast. Usually it's the senior leadership. It trickles down. In every company I've ever worked for, if the top people had a heart for it, the top people were invested in their community and their people, not the employees, the people that work there. Like they care about their life. They have a life outside of it. Their company's thriving because everybody's pulling the same direction. Right. And so when I walk in those companies, it makes my job real easy, because the senior leadership's already done the job. They've encouraged them that this is something we do as a company. It's important. It's important for our community, and this is why. And then it makes my job a lot easier. It's not a sales job. I just come in and talk to them about what we do. And so from that, though, your original question, the community partners. So we go out, raise this money. Let's say in this community, our goal is $100,000 we want to raise to fund all of our partners. Then that goes to organizations like COPE and United Ministries and Mid-Cumberland. And so we give that money. They come in. We're getting ready to go through another cycle right now where they apply for funding. There's a process where they turn in some paperwork, but then we also go in and do site visits. And then we have an allocation board of volunteers in this community, people from here, live here, work here, that decide how we divvy up that money. We don't decide. The people that live here decide how we do that. And based on this process, they make a recommendation to the board approves it, the main board that does Middle Tennessee. They never say no to the volunteer allocation people,
because they know what's needed in the
community. Now, we guide them through that process and kind of let them know, because we don't want to give half of our funding to 2 food banks, right? Like, that are doing the exact same thing. So we want we have mission, we have education, we have poverty, we have, food insecurities, all these buckets that we want to get into. And so we try to make sure our money is spread as far as we possibly can. Those people that do that are a lot smarter than me, honestly, because they have to study the analytics and the numbers and the statistics and the demographics and all that stuff. And so, but they work with our volunteers to do that. We're getting ready to go through that process. Matter of fact, if you're interested in doing something like that, we can always use people that care about. All you have to do, your only criteria for this is you care about your community, and you want to see it a little bit better, because you will get an education on these partner agencies. I went through it my first year. Ace, bless her, she's like, you need to do this. I was like, I'm fundraising. I don't have time to do this. It's like, you need to do this. And she was right, because what it did is it showed me how thorough the process was. I got to know these partner agencies in a really intimate way, because you go to their site, You speak to them, they come in, they tell you about what they're doing. They're so passionate about what they do, and it just shines through. And it makes me want to go, when I'm going to raise funds, work even harder because I want to make sure they keep doing what they're doing, because they're on the front lines. They're actually providing service right here in this community. And then people would say, well, I could just give money right to this nonprofit. You can. That's great. That's fantastic. The reason you would give to United Way is that we have fully vetted all of these partners that we're working with very thoroughly, because you have a lot of nonprofits that will start up. They have great ambitions. They're trying to do the right thing. There's nothing malicious about it. They just are misguided. They don't really know what they're doing, and then they fizzle out. That happens all the time. You have to be a nonprofit, I think, for 3 years to be a partner with us and be established.
Right.
But these are people that have tried and true. They know what they're doing, and they have a mission, and they're filling that mission, and we're aiding them in that mission. Right? We're not their only source of funding. They get revenue other places. But the good thing about ours is, typically when you get a grant, it's heavily regulated. It's like, I'm getting a grant for like this one specific thing that I'm doing.
To build this.
To build this or do this or whatever. Ours is more like, you use it in the way that you see fit. Like if you need it to pay your bills or add an employee or whatever it is, so that you can continue your mission, then that's our funding is a little lighter in that. I know it's regulated in that we know what it's going to be used for, but it's a little more freedom from our partners. We trust them at that point that they're going to use it to do what they need to do, because a lot of these nonprofits are completely volunteer run.
Oh yes.
Nobody's getting paid in there. And they're just trying to keep like the lights on and keep the stuff coming in. And as we know with, inflation, what it's done and products and everything, the cost of everything has gone up. It's made their jobs that much tougher. And so it's even more important that we take care of them and fund them properly. And so you mentioned this, but every dollar that raised here stays here. In addition to that, by being a part of the United Way of Greater Nashville, the grant opportunities that we have that have come in, like Raise Your Hand, that's a grant. I mean, that's stuff like our Family Collective, that is a grant. The free tax program, that's a grant. You know what I mean? So all these services that come as a part of this would not exist otherwise, because it takes this whole team to
Takes
kind of
a village.
It does take a village.
There you
And
go.
so my little part of it is just trying to raise funds and work with our corporate partners, and we can always use more. So if you're interested, we'd love to talk to you. Everybody thinks it's going to be a heavy lift. We do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Like all we need to do is get access, go talk to your employees. If they choose not to, that's fine. We've already won, because we got to go in and talk to them, and those are 15, 20 more people that we told what we do in this area, and they're a little more aware than they were.
Well, and a couple of things to what you said. You're talking about the analyticals and where they figure out what's needed where. That 211
That's right.
number. I working in ministry for 7 years. When I found out there was a number, people would come into the benevolence center looking for some kind of an assistance, and I was like, let's call 211. Let's see what's available, because our benevolence center was about food and clothing, and that's what we concentrated on, and that's how nonprofits are. We had the Nazarene Church. They were more about housing. And so we're like, okay, and so you got to connect these things.
You do.
Nobody can do it all.
They can't.
And so you got to connect all those dots. And so that 211 is just so helpful in that. But then something else that you said, a completely different topic. You were talking about how you go in these companies, and it makes such a difference when you give the employees an opportunity to volunteer. I've got 2 kids that work at HCA, and I've said this to you many times, but I'll say it again. Oh my goodness. The company, HCA is an amazing company to work for.
One of our biggest partners.
And they do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I will hear from my kids. Or what inevitably happens, I'll get a call from one of the boys. It's like, hey, we need to borrow something from Dad. Can we borrow the Kangal loader? Can we borrow this? We're going and volunteering, and we want to. This will make it easier.
I'm guilty of that. I'm digging in the shop. Hey, do you have one of these? They always do.
Yeah.
So
that's something we get that call quite often from our boys, because having run a roofing company for so many years, we got just odds and ends.
You got the stuff.
We got stuff.
Yeah.
We got stuff. So they'll borrow things from us all the
Right.
time, but it's always cool to hear. They always have a story to tell on the other side of it. They're like, oh, we did this, and here's how it went, and it's just you can see it in their
You're
life.
excited about doing it. When you feel like you're working at a special
Yes,
place. I mean,
yes,
because everybody can go work and they're going to work you and all that. But if they're allowing you to go do that, we get 3 days of volunteer time at United Way. This is something new. You'd think, well, we're a nonprofit. We get it.
Yeah.
We go do our own stuff. That's work. Like we're working, but like to go do whatever we want to do. Like they know how important it is. Like, so if you're passionate about something, you can go, you take time off work, get paid, and go volunteer somewhere that you're excited about. We get 3 days of it a year. I think it's amazing. A lot more companies are doing that. They're like,
That's cool.
They're like saying you can go volunteer where you would want to go, because it's only going to help your community first and foremost, but also you're going to be appreciative of that company you work for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you probably have some people take advantage of it. You know what I mean? But like most people are going to be excited about going.
Yeah.
I can go volunteer at the food bank couple of days now. I have that, and really like it's something I want to do. Or they've got a big truck coming in, or like when Sherry does her food giveaways. You know, once she does one in the spring and one in October, I can go volunteer at that all day. You know what I mean?
And you talk about fulfilling. If you've
Yeah.
never done something like
Right.
that, it's such a blessing.
The people,
because people are
you'll
so
see,
grateful. Yeah.
and you see them lined up like first thing in the morning, and you know we're all feeling the crunch. You know, when you go to the grocery store and you go, boy, that bills keeps climbing up. But you think about somebody's living paycheck to paycheck.
I can't even imagine.
And they're struggling, and then they have a flat tire that week and got to get tire replaced, or you know something happened with a kid and they got to take them to the doctor or whatever, and what was already a tight budget becomes even thinner, and then they're like, all right, how am I putting food on the table? And so that's why it's so important. You know, people are like, well, he's just giving handouts. No, that's not a hand. It's people that are working. They're doing all the right stuff, and it's just like they're that thin on their budget, and so we can help get them to the next thing. You know what I mean? So that they're able to keep going. That's the goal in a lot of those situations. It's not a handout. You know what I mean? It's just helping somebody that's maybe in a tough spot a lot of times.
And if you're wanting to find out, you know, something, if you're looking for a place to volunteer, United Way can direct you and say, okay,
Got
well,
a great segue there too.
Yeah, there you go. Go for it.
Hands On used to be known as Hands On Nashville, which is a volunteer. That is what they specialize in. We became officially, they're part of the United Way now. It's Hands On, powered by the United Way of Greater Nashville.
Okay.
And so they are a part of us now. Their specialty is volunteerism. Like, so
Right.
you may be familiar with them. They kind of came of prominence during the flood in 2010, and they were boots on the ground, and they organize people, and they get on where they need to go, because a disaster happens, as we saw back here in December with the tornadoes that came through this area. Everybody's like getting their chainsaws out, bringing water, and it's like, what can we do? That's great. That's the volunteer spirit. That's what we're about here in Tennessee. It doesn't help all the time, though, because you got city services out there. You know, we talked to Ryan Martin about it. They're trying to get the lights back on. They're trying to make sure everybody's safe, the police, nobody's stealing stuff, you know, all this stuff. They're trying to make sure everything's good. What Hands On does is take those resources, you kind of go through them. They work with the city or whoever is in charge there and make sure they're being applied to where they need to go.
Right.
That is the disaster part of it. Now, the part that impacts us, they will help us work with companies, and so they can do a couple of different options. If you want to do a volunteer project right there at your office, like we can't bring our employees away, but we want to do something here, they can customize a volunteer project there. Kit packing, food packing, hygiene packs, all that kind of stuff, they can do right there on site. And they do soup to nuts. They order everything, take care of everything, bring it in. Your employees can pack it, feel part of that, and then they'll get it to where it needs to go as well. If you want to do something outside of the office, they have a calendar with events. And so he's like, I have 8 employees. That's all I've got. They have it by number, dates, what you want to do, and in the area you are, and you can go volunteer for 4 hours that day. And so we're super excited that they're a part of us. When we work with our corporate campaigns, that's another thing we can offer now. If you want to do a personalized volunteer project, or you're looking for volunteer projects, a lot of them are like, we'd like to do this. We don't know where to start. We've got experts now.
Yeah.
We were okay at it. That's not our thing, though. Like, that's not typically what we're suited to do. They are suited to do it. And so we're super excited. I'll probably have Lori Shenton was the CEO there, and she actually lives up in the Clarksville area.
Oh, cool.
And is in this
Yeah, bring
area a
her
lot. I would love to bring her in. She's got some unbelievable stories too of stuff that just because she's in the Clarksville tornadoes and hit here. She was boots on, like she's
right there by our church, Madison Church of Christ. I mean,
you got it. I mean, it's everywhere.
Smacked. I mean,
so Hendersonville. I mean, it's anyway. But we're just excited to have them and excited to what they can bring, and I think it just fleshes out the entire experience. So you're be part of a corporate campaign. You can volunteer.
That's cool.
You can do all the stuff.
Yeah.
And they're going to plug you in. They're working with our partner agencies too. So if they have needs, it's like, man, we really need somebody to come work on this landscape or paint or something, and we don't have the resources, time, anything. You got a company looking to do it. What you talk about all the time, bridge building.
Yeah.
There you go. Y'all two meet, and you're both happy, and something good is happening out of it, which is the main thing. Like somebody's getting something taken care of that they need taken care of. So
I think one of the things that you said earlier that kind of blew my mind is the employee retention of 30%. when they have a company that they know that they're working for that cares.
It goes from like
that's astronomical.
37% to like 67%, and is the number when you're talking about when they are engaged with a nonprofit partner.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because
that's huge.
People want to feel a part of something that's like I feel kind of whole. You know what I mean? It's like I work, and they'll tell their friends, "I work for a good company." You know what we did the other day? We did this thing, and they feel like they're a part of something a little bigger, and their company actually cares. And most times it's not lip service. Like the companies I go into that have this culture, they legitimately care. They care about their employees. They care about their communities. They want things to be better. Yes, they have to make money because they're a company that's, needs to make a profit so they can pay their employees and keep functioning. But they also want to leave their community a little better than they have. And they know that there's not an obligation, but there is something they need to do to give back. You know what I mean? They're operating, their employees live there. We need to do something to improve this community as well, not just work here. And so the ones that get it, it's a joy to go in because they already got it. You don't have to convince them or anything. They know. Know. So one of those, I just want to give a quick shout out, Farmers Bank. Been one of our longest campaigns. They're getting ready to start, I think, right after Labor Day, and they care. They care about their community. They want it to be a better place. They've been bought in. They're one of my best ones because I don't have to convince them anything. They have almost 100% participation rate. I think they probably do have a 100% participation rate. I don't want to speak out of turn, but just companies like that, when I get to work with them, it makes my job so easy because they already get it. They already get why they're doing what they're doing, and their employees want to be a part of it. And they have, they make it super easy for their employees and make it something they look forward to, and it just makes my job easy. So
this just makes you feel good.
It does.
If you've not been involved in nonprofit work, whether it be just with your finances, getting your hands dirty and getting out there and being a part of it, it just changes you completely. And I can't say enough about it. We're going to pause for a second.
Ma'am.
We'll come back and wrap it up. We're going to talk about Veterans Motorplex, guys. This is Veterans Motorplex at the Rim. They've it's so funny. They rebranded Highland Rim to Veterans Motorplex when Jerry took it over years ago. And they've done a bunch of renovations out there. They're making tons of improvements. And they want to invite you again. If you've been to the races before, you really haven't been. If you haven't been to Veterans Motorplex lately, because Veterans Motorplex at the Rim, at the historic Highland Rim, because it is just absolutely beautiful out there. They have, great racing, and they've got a live show tonight on Facebook. If you want to see what's going on out there, they're going to have a practice tonight, 5 to 9. They've got a great ticket price for you. If you want to take your whole family out, that $40 ticket price will get up to 6 kids and 2 adults in for one $40 ticket price. $15 for normal adults. I think it's $12 for seniors and kids 12 to 17. And then under 6 free, I think, or under 5 free. But they've got all kinds of great ticket prices. They've got the gates will open at about 4:15, racing at 7. It is a great time, guys. If you've not been to the races, just want to continue to invite you to come out before the season's over. The season, of course, will end in October. Maybe a slight possibility they'll extend on into November because they got a little bit of a late start with all the renovations out there, but we just want to continue to invite you to come out to one of the best kept secrets in Robertson County, and that's the Veterans Motorplex at the Rim. This is the old Highland Rim Speedway. If you want to follow them on Facebook, follow them at Highland Rim Speedway, and you'll know you're at Veterans Motorplex at the Rim. Great racing happening, weather permitting, every Saturday night, and they want to invite you to come on out and be a part of it. And all kinds of great stuff coming up while the season is going on. If you want to get all the news about some special events they've got coming up, they've got a special night of racing coming up on September 7th. And they've got they're going to raise some money for Down syndrome and things like that. They do a lot of the fundraising out there. It's a great place to be, guys. Go out and see Jerry and all the folks at Veterans Motorplex at the Rim. They are located. Let me pull the address up here real quick. 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier. And when you get out there, please let them know U-Turn sent you. But get to the races before the season's over. All right, how you want to wrap this up?
Just another little company I'd like to give a shout out to that's got their campaign coming up is Cumberland Electric. I know we've talked about them a lot here.
Love Cumberland Electric.
They are just always participating in what we need. Susie Yonkers is, I don't know her exact title. She is my community guru, I would say. Like I say, hey, we're thinking about doing this, and she'll go, I think we can do that. That's usually her answer to anything. Is like, I think we would like to be involved in that. And so they are super to work with. Obviously, they are a great campaign of ours. They get involved in their community. They volunteer. We had a thing, and we're hoping to do it in Robertson County next year. We did it in Davidson last year for the first time. did it in Clarksville this year for the first time, where it's first day of school. We had volunteers go to a lot of the schools and kind of like just welcome the kids. And
cheer them on.
They were shooting out, I don't know, confettis and, had bubbles and all kinds of stuff. Cumberland Electric is out there with a bunch of their folks up in Clarksville because that's where they're based. And I told her, I said, we want to do this in Robertson next year. And she said, absolutely, because, they want to cover their whole service area. And so
that's great.
Just a great company to work with, fun to work with. We get to go do the kickoffs. Now, this part is humorous. If you've never lived until you go at 7 a.m. and do a kickoff with a bunch of linemen, they're getting ready to go out and work all day and talk to them. If you can get their attention, everything else is easy because, not too pleasant that first thing in the morning. But after a few minutes, you get a little coffee, maybe you bring some donuts, you can get in good with them. But they do give and they care about what we do. And I'm just kidding. My brother's a lineman, so that's kind of part of it. He was one of those guys. But
you got to mess with them a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but anyway, just a great company to work with and super thankful that they're going to get going again. I think theirs is coming up second week of September. So This is what we're in, just doing all the stuff. Yeah.
Busy stuff.
Yeah.
So tell them how to get in touch with you now, anyway.
You can call me 615-780-2401, 615-780-2401, or you can just stop by our office. I'm in and out a little bit more right now, so is Catherine, but we are at the corner of 5th and Main in the UT Extension office in the basement. They're kind of on the side. So please come see us. You ever need anything, reach out. That goes directly to my cell, too. If I'm not in the office, you call that number. It goes right to my cell phone. So glad
easy
to talk
contact,
to you.
always great. Bridge builder to the nonprofits and kind of in the nonprofit, in the nonprofit genre. I need to mention also to remind you, Recovery Fest is this weekend. It is noon to 3 at the fairgrounds, noon to 3, Recovery Fest. I'll be there. I've had the pleasure to work with the Recovery Court, and it's going to be a great event. But we want to invite you out. If you know anybody that maybe you got somebody that you're trying to find out all the recovery options, be sure and come out there, and we're going to have live music. It's going to be great. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, but I just got to put that out there. I got to put it out there every day or the girls will get me.
Yeah.
Recovery Fest is this weekend.
There you go.
Don't miss it. Noon to 3. And then the safety day we talked about with Barry's going to be going out at Kilgore Park up in Cross Plains. Man, it's going to be a beautiful Saturday.
It is.
There'll be a lot of good stuff going on.
Nice.
So we'll talk more about all those events tomorrow, but thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Ron Bullock.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Anyway, good to see all of you guys today. This is 1100. God bless you. Have a great day.
And I had